Hey guys, tonight we journey back to a time when the world was a challenging frozen wilderness and meet our hefty, brainy ancestors, the Neanderthals. Picture yourself wrapped in the hide of a woolly mammoth, trudging through the snow-draped landscape where every breath crystallizes in the crisp, icy air. You're shoulder to shoulder with a group of Neanderthals, your misunderstood cousins in the human lineage. Despite their often rough depiction in modern media, these people are not only strong and resilient, but also incredibly clever and resourceful. They survived harsh Ice Age conditions, using their brawn and intelligence to hunt, craft tools, and develop a rich culture. But let's be honest, tossed into the Ice Age yourself, you'd probably find your way into a circle of polar bears, faster than you could say flint tools. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, leave a comment with your location and local time. I'm curious to see where and when you're listening from. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. As you step deeper into this snowscape, you'd observe the Neanderthals up close. Their bodies are perfectly adapted for the icy world compact, sturdy and muscular like natural bodybuilders, ready to thrust spears into the heart of a charging megafauna. Their skulls, cradling one of the largest brains in the hominid world, hint at a mental complexity that rivals that of modern humans. They chisel tools from flint with a precision that shows off their smarts. Ever heard how a Neanderthal craftsman could create a precise blade by striking a rock with just the right amount of force angle and daring? You might want to keep your appendages out of the way, because historians still debate whether this was an art form or pure survival instinct honed to perfection. And what of their daily lives when not locked in the eternal struggle against the biting wind and growling tummies of their kin? The Neanderthals had something akin to a community spirit, which might surprise you if you've only heard stories of their brawny escapades. Imagine their homes nestled in caves or sheltered by rocky outcrops, filled not only with the sounds of flint hitting stone, but also the gentle hum of voices, trading tales, sharing laughs, perhaps a song or two carried on the wood smoke. As night falls, and the little ones curl into warm hides, the air is thick with the comfort of a close-knit clan. Strange as it may initially appear, these same rugged people, who wrestled with the elements so fiercely, also showed a softer side that cherished the bonds of kinship and the warmth of shared fires. The nuances of these ancient evenings can still elicit a warm chuckle, or two fascinating archaeological finds have teased us with clues of their merriment. Did you know a fluke of nature once carved a Neanderthal bone flute, suggesting their potential love for music? Historians roll their eyes at the debates over whether it was a deliberate instrument or a happy accident, but the romance of the idea endures regardless. Their eyes, like pools reflecting the steely hues of the winter sky, illuminate with stories from landscapes beyond the blizzards. Here, fire is more than just warmth. It's the hearth of companionship, a beacon against the desolation. Each ember falling through the darkness signifies not only survival, but connection to those seated nearby. In this shared glow, much is whispered of a world that outlasted ice and shadow tales, rife with mystery and mirth. Imagine listening and absorbing this history, not from dusty books, but from the mouth of a Neanderthal matron or patriarch, swapping stories beside the crackling flames. And as they describe the spirit of their hunts and the cleverness it took to trap the elusive beasts of those days, you can better appreciate their prowess and imagination. Roam these historical narrative threads as they weave survival strategies, not just bound by instinct, but by an acute understanding of their frosty dominion. Seemingly ordinary in some lights, extraordinary in others, they too faced uncertainties. As you listen, note how the similarities and subtle differences with your life today blur across millennia. Historians still debate whether Neanderthals had abstract thoughts as we do. Did they wonder about the shimmering stars above, or ponder their place in the vastness surrounding them? Or were they more inclined to the practical, their dreams anchored in tangible survival? Every now and then, a familiar name pops up in conversation. Denisovans, another branch on our ancestral tree, a clue to the diverse tapestry woven by our ancestors. And just like the mystery of the Denisovans, you realize that our Neanderthal cousins are not just mere shadows of a bygone age, but whispers of a larger shared story that includes you sitting comfy, perhaps, with the fan still gently spinning in the corner of your room. As the tale unfolds, let its narrative draw you into that snowy epoch, positioning you in a continuum without borders, where ancient and modern embark on parallel journeys. As you warm to these fireside stories, you ponder how the greatest strength isn't always muscle-bound, nor adorned in trinkets of bone and flint, but lies, as ever, in the fecund creativity of the human mind, the very same trait that continues to map our universe today. Close your eyes. Now feel the imagined glow of an ancient fire across your skin, and drift amidst those icy fields where the Neanderthals, our resilient kin, knew well how to weather both stormy nights and the morning's untold promises. The cold air ruffles against your skin like a whisper as you delve deeper into the Ice Age world standing before you. You find yourself side by side with Neanderthals, the ancient cousins of modern humans. As you walk with them across the frozen landscape, their physical traits become more apparent and quite striking. They appear shorter than most people today, averaging around 5 feet 5 inches tall. Yet their bodies are robust, built like stone fortresses, with broad chests, powerful limbs, and thick bones that seem to defy the biting chill of the world around them. Historians still debate whether the Neanderthals' stocky build was a direct evolutionary response to the freezing conditions of the Ice Age, or a side effect of their genetic lineage. What is clear, though, is that their impressive physiques and heavy musculature allowed them to conserve heat more effectively. You find yourself imagining how you'd fare without Gore-Tex jackets or modern technology out here. The answer is simple. You probably won't survive this, but the Neanderthals have mastered their environment. Each step you take with them brings you closer to understanding how these strong-boned beings have conquered elements that would humble any present-day human. Their faces tell a story of endurance, prominent brow ridges, shading eyes that seem to have seen 1,000 cozy campfires, large noses that warm the icy air before it reaches their lungs, and strong jaws capable of gnawing through the toughest game. You pause to touch one of their tools, a finely crafted flint hand axe that feels surprisingly sophisticated. This tool speaks volumes of the intelligence and dexterity of its maker. Demandingly, your mind compares it to the ever-changing technology we use today. It's as if someone from our time had fashioned an advanced multi-purpose gadget out of the raw elements of nature. Surprisingly, you notice that despite their divergence from what you've come to know as modern human, there's a haunting familiarity about them. Perhaps it's in their eyes that convey an intelligence tinged with curiosity, or maybe it's in the way they communicate through gestures and sounds rich with meaning, suggesting a form of language historians continue to ponder over. If you listen closely, you might hear the lilt of a shared ancestor's tongue in their murmuring. It becomes clear that the Neanderthals didn't just exist in this harsh wilderness, they thrived. Their resilience is an inspiration revealing to you that these beings were not mere brutish figures from prehistory, but adaptable, resilient survivors. See how they move through their icy territory with purpose, making use of animal sinew for binding and building, wearing fur pelts before the advent of swanky winter fashion. Intriguingly, you observe that their communities are tight-knit, supporting one another just as families do today. They hold rituals around the warmth of their fire now crackling as evening colors the sky a deep indigo. Perhaps they tell stories much like the one you are in now, sharing tales of hunts and hunts to come. Yet, under the tranquil spell of darkness, one part of the mystery still tugs at your thoughts. Why did the Neanderthals disappear? There are whispers of theories, a changing climate, or competition with our direct ancestors. But as you ponder this, standing amidst them, the conclusive answers remain elusive in the frosty air. You continue onward with the Neanderthals, guided by the moonlit beams, casting silver paths across the snow. These resilient beings have walked this land for hundreds of thousands of years before you, leaving behind echoes that resonate through the ages. Falling behind slightly, you watch their shadows meld into the canvas of the night, strong and enduring, unyielding to time. In this reflective moment with the Neanderthal spirit, all around the scenes from this ancient world begin to gently fade. Your journey with them, though, concluded in physical step, lingers in mind and heart, interwoven into threads of history that stretch far back, yet continue forward through each of us today. As you rest your thoughts, a soft, continuous hum surrounds you like that of a gentle breeze, or the whispering echoes of their fires burning brightly against the inky backdrop of time, reassuring, soothing, and timeless, like a lullaby of perseverance, wrapping you softly into dreams. As you walk through the misty depths of time, you find yourself stepping into the world of ancient Neanderthals. The air is brisk, and you can almost feel the weight of history pressing down on your shoulders. Your journey has brought you to a long-forgotten campfire site, where shadows dance flickering tales of survival and strength across the rocky landscape. In the warm glow, you notice a group of Neanderthals gathering for what seems like an evening of storytelling and reflection, much like yours tonight. You settle in, close feeling the warmth of their fire, and let yourself drift into their world. A world defined by its relentless challenges and extraordinary resilience. As you observe the people before you, the first thing you notice is their robust build. Each of them stands with a solidity that speaks to their incredible strength. Their frames are more powerful than modern humans, with wide chests and shorter, stockier limbs, built to endure the harsh realities of their time. As you look closer, you notice their bones, far denser than yours, a testament to the incredible loads they must have borne through their challenging lives. Just as you think about how they must have used this strength, your gaze lands on a fossil lying by the fire. This fossil carries the story of both power and survival. It's a femur, thick and strong, but it bears an old-healed fracture. This injury tells you about the resilience of its bearer, a Neanderthal, who, despite a potentially life-threatening wound, continued to walk, hunt, and live. Neanderthals lived a life woven with danger where survival depended on their physical might. Their muscles were powerful and well-developed, used daily for hunting large prehistoric beasts or gathering resources in the rugged terrains they called home. Historians still debate whether their strength was purely due to their physical makeup, or if it stemmed from the necessity of enduring such brutal conditions. What appears clear, however, is that these were people with unparalleled resilience. As the flames flicker, casting long shadows against ancient faces, you learn more about their world. Life was fraught with peril. Yet with each injury, the broken bones and dislocated joints you see in the fossils, they show remarkable healing. One might imagine their lives were filled with countless struggles against predators, the hunt for food, and overcoming the ever-changing climate. Their bodies tell a story of survival against the odds. Remarkably, even with their powerful frames, Neanderthals showed creativity in adapting their lives to the world around them. Their communities likely offered a tight-knit support network to help one another recover from injuries. This communal care might explain how individuals managed to heal and continue contributing to the group. The fire crackles, bringing you back to the warmth of the present moment, and you realize how pivotal community was in their survival. Despite the rough exterior, your insight into their world unveils something unexpected. Their lives were not just survival, but remarkable resilience in an ever-shifting world. Whether it's the intricate simplicity of their tools or the care for each other etched in their bones, you see the softer side of these strong ancient people. As you bask in the glow of this ancient gathering, you comprehend an unusual aspect of their social structure. These Neanderthals likely possessed a form of humor, perhaps born from the necessity of finding light in their hard lives, an odd twist of character juxtaposed against their formidable strength. The firelight dims, painting the past in softer hues, and you feel the warmth seep into your bones. A calm, cozy sensation envelops you, much like the camaraderie shared by the Neanderthals in the glow of their fires. It's a gentle reminder of the resilience sewn into the fabric of their lives. You ease into this new chapter of understanding as silence blankets the ancient landscape. The strength of their bodies and the power of their community are lessons that linger with you as you imagine drifting off into a peaceful sleep beside a Neanderthal camp, surrounded by echoes of laughter, whispers of stories untold, and the certainty that their strength lay not only in muscle and bone, but in the bonds they shared. The fire crackles once more as a gentle wind begins to lull the flames to rest. The Neanderthals become silhouettes against the dying light, their stories and strength woven softly into the night, as you too drift peacefully into the cloak of sleep. As you stroll through the ancient and misty lands of Europe some 40,000 years ago, you're suddenly accompanied by a group of fascinating beings. These aren't your typical Homo sapiens, but their imposing frames and thoughtful eyes draw you in. You're surrounded by Neanderthals, those mysterious cousins of humans whose large brains and piercing gaze seem to hide stories untold. Moving amongst them, an intriguing sense of warmth embraces you. With their broad builds and large foreheads, it might be easy to think of the Neanderthals as simple, but there's an undeniable spark of intelligence and awareness in their eyes. Their brains are comparable in size to yours, perhaps even slightly larger, especially when it comes to visual and spatial processing. You notice how swiftly they move through the rocky terrain, their eyes darting with precision, their bodies coordinating in perfect harmony. Impressive even in the dim light of the cave entrance that looms ahead. Inside this ancient shelter, the flickering dance of firelight unveils another layer of their intriguing world. There's evidence of creativity in the way these cave walls tell stories, a charming blend of real and mystical creatures painted in earthy hues. Some Neanderthals are busy mixing pigments from natural materials, red ochre, to create vibrant colors. You watch as they daub these hues onto their own skin, revealing a flair for makeup that echoes creative expression and identity. One of the Neanderthals gestures for you to sit, and as you do, you observe them picking up an array of shells and minerals items, clearly not sourced from nearby. This sight sparks the realization that trade and a shared sense of aesthetics stretched even across vast terrains in this ancient world. Historians continue to ponder the depths of Neanderthal cognition and artistry. Were these creative outputs simply functional, or deeply personal expressions of their worldviews? You imagine they might debate till sunrise their discussions, as nuanced as the shadows cast by the cave fire before you. Your moment of reflection is interrupted by a gentle humming sound, as the Neanderthals work a rhythm, perhaps meant to soothe, or maybe to communicate across the stone chamber. Despite the primal environment, there's a complex society here, a network of thought and emotion conjured to life through art and music, a nightly legacy echoing into your present. There's more to explore. Yet for now, you're content with the hum of ancient voices around you, the soft colors of their world painting your dreams. As the embers glow softly, you find yourself pondering the mysteries locked within the Neanderthal brain, the strength and elegance bound within those ancient skulls. One thing is sure: the night wraps you in its calm embrace, urging you to drift peacefully into your own world of dreams. The wintry gusts caress your skin as you find yourself amid towering glaciers and vast snowy plains. It's oddly serene here, with the crisp air tingling gently at your nostrils. You almost shiver, but it seems you're more resilient to the cold than you expect. Your journey takes you back to the age of the Neanderthals, gifted survivors of such unforgiving climates. Adaptation is in every fiber of your being. Your body feels robust and solid. You notice yourself with a stockier frame, which is not just for appearances, but a vital asset that conserves heat more efficiently. It's as if evolution has dressed you in a natural parka, and you're grateful for the warmth in this icy world. Yet it's your nose that's the true star performer here. It's uniquely shaped, perhaps a bit broader than you've ever imagined possible. This nose is not only a defining feature, but a marvel of ancient human architecture, meticulously designed to warm cold air before it hits your lungs. It's a subtle but crucial adaptation, allowing you to breathe deeply without the biting chill seeping in. The skin of a Neanderthal like yours now feels particularly thick and may bear an added layer of protective fat beneath. Historians still debate whether their skin had slightly different pigmentation compared to modern humans, catering further to their icy surroundings. You imagine your reflection, perhaps your complexion, holds secrets known only to the eons past. Fashion, you discover, is not lost on Neanderthals, despite the primitive setting. As you wander, you find yourself adorned in meticulously stitched hide clothing. The garments cling warmly to the handiwork, suggesting a blend of necessity and a primitive form of expression. Perhaps the Neanderthals always wanted to feel not only warm, but also a sense of pride in their craft. You can almost feel the hands that once toiled over these pieces, sewing with sinew and shaping hides to suit the wearer's form. And accessories. Now those hold curious stories. You find a pendant of sorts, brushing against your chest, fashioned perhaps from the claw of a predatory bird or animal. This talon hangs elegantly from a strand of sinew tied around your neck. What bold statement or charm this once served is for your imagination to ponder. An unusual but striking detail hinting at the Neanderthals' connection with the creatures they lived alongside. Then there's ochre, a rich earthy hue found smeared across your arms and chest, perhaps as a form of early makeup or symbolic camouflage for hunting. The exact purpose remains a subject of debate among scholars. Whether it was for ritual status or even simple aesthetic enjoyment, it adds a surprising splash of color against the snowy backdrop. Adapting to the cold in such ways, your survival feels almost imminent. True, the environment is harsh, and many a pessimistic thought might suggest you probably won't survive this, but here you're thriving with every breath you take. These extreme conditions are met with quiet resilience where fashion and function intertwine seamlessly. It's a testament to human ingenuity. You think that such innovations were not only imagined, but meticulously crafted in times so distant from ours. With the snow falling softly around you in this ancient world at your fingertips, you can almost see the echoes of a hearth-lit home where these clothes might have been worn first. As you press forward, the echoes of people whom time has barely remembered whisper through the silence, urging you to admire their strength, their creativity, and yes, their subtle style amidst the ice and snow. The chill remains, but it's no longer biting. Instead, it lulls you into a gentle serenity as you marvel at the resourceful adaptations of the past, wrapped snugly in the knowledge of those who came before, just like the hide clothing wrapped around you now. With each step you take, you're part of this story, part of their woven tapestry of survival and ingenuity. And so you continue embracing the Neanderthal in you, the ancient wisdom ever present in each calculated step forward. And as the snow continues to fall, you find yourself enveloped not only by the cold, but by a profound connection with those who once roamed the earth in this very form. You realize that despite the countless years that separate you, the stark wilderness is a common shared experience that humankind has forever tried to master. Gently, you absorb this history as your adventure softly fades into the night, offering you both its mysteries and its comforts. You find yourself transported back to a time long before cities and cars, a time when the earth was wilder, untamed, and a little dangerous, just like the adventure you've embarked upon. The air around you is crisp and filled with the scent of fresh pine and damp earth. The sun dips low on the horizon, casting long shadows over the landscape, and you can almost hear the distant whispers of wind through the leaves. This is the world of the Neanderthals, those robust ancient cousins of ours who roamed Europe and Western Asia thousands of years ago. You're among them, watching in awe as they prepare for a hunt. Each Neanderthal moves with the precision and understanding of their surroundings that rivals the most skilled hunter. Their eyes are alert, scanning for signs of prey, a rustle in the underbrush, the flick of a tail. These hunters, stocky and muscular, are as close to warriors as the ancient world has ever seen, masters of survival in the harshest of conditions. Imagine one among them standing slightly ahead of the group. He grips a handcrafted spear, its wooden shaft smoothed, and its stone tip honed to a lethal point. This tool, simple yet effective, is a testament to their ingenuity. Even in the dim light, you can sense the strength in his arms, built from years of throwing and lifting, of moving through terrain that would challenge the hardiest adventurer. You watch as they communicate without words, a series of gestures and nods that coordinate their approach. It's striking how easily they move together, how seamlessly they represent a unit bound by camaraderie and the shared goal of bringing down the evening's meal. As they close in on their target, an unsuspecting herd of reindeer grazing in a nearby clearing, you're reminded of stories of modern warriors, their precision and teamwork echoing across millennia. But there's something even more remarkable about these Neanderthals. They are built for resilience. Just like modern warriors, they endure what would seem insurmountable to you. They plunge into the hunt, and it's not just about strength or speed. It's about sheer tenacity and an incredible ability to withstand the injuries that are an inevitable part of their dangerous lifestyle. As one of them charges forward, his foot catches a root and he tumbles hard to the ground. A wince for sure, maybe a bruised rib if he's unlucky. Yet he stands, shakes it off, with barely a moment's pause. You might think I'd be done for, but for them, it's another story. They keep going, embodying the phrase, get back up again, in a way that's not just a mantra, but a way of life. These Neanderthals historians debate could withstand injuries that would lay you out for weeks, owing in part to their robust bodies and perhaps even a higher pain threshold. As the hunt progresses, you notice something curious. It's not just physical prowess at play, but a mysterious connection to the natural world. Perhaps it's instinct, or perhaps there's more that we do not fully understand. These humans are attuned to the earth beneath their feet, to the signs and signals that you or I might miss entirely. One of them pauses, senses heightened, as if feeling a disturbance before it happens. It's as if they possess an awareness that goes beyond the physical, a sense of place and moment, akin to the stories of athletes in the zone. This is no ordinary primal scene. There's an art, a rhythm, and even a whisper of something spiritual in their movements. Though historians still debate whether this instinct was learned or intrinsic, the herd, sensing the presence of predators, begins to move. But the Neanderthals are faster. Their spears fly a series of practiced, powerful jabs, and they secure their prize. It's a victory not just of skill, but of unwavering resilience. You can't help but marvel at their ability not just to survive, but to thrive against odds that seem overwhelming to you. As they celebrate their success, a realization dawns on you. In their world, with the twilight deepening and the chill settling in, more than survival is at play here. This is community strength and the endurance of spirit. Perhaps in the quiet moments gathered around the glow of a campfire, they celebrated not just the hunt, but each other, a tapestry of life, woven with threads of hardship and triumph alike. You take a deep breath, comforted by the steady presence of this moment. The Neanderthals have returned to camp their victory tonight, another chapter in their story. This ancient world in all its wildness calms to a gentle hum as night fully envelopes the land. And as you find yourself drifting into sleep, lying under the same stars that watched over these ancient kin, you feel a profound connection to their story, a reminder that resilience and strength are timeless. This journey through time leaves you with a newfound appreciation for this shared humanity that stretches across the ages, quietly echoing through every heartbeat and breath. Now, with the shadows growing long and the warmth of the campfire fading into a gentle glow, let your own dreams unfold with the whispers of history guiding you softly to rest. As you rest beside the rhythmic warmth of the softly crackling campfire, you can almost imagine the flickering shadows of ancient figures dancing on the cave walls around you. Underneath the starlit canopy, the air is imbued with a rich, smoky aroma that tells tales of Neanderthal ingenuity, offering you a window into a world nearly forgotten by time. Picture this: the the crackling flames not just lighting the night, but carefully coaxed and stoked by Neanderthals in ways that seem as magical as they are practical. It wasn't just the warmth they sought, fire was a transformative force in their lives. With fire at their fingertips, Neanderthals weren't just roasting meat for a savory meal. Imagine the sizzle and spit of fat dripping into the flames, releasing a tantalizing fragrance that even now would make your mouth water. But fire, dear listener, was more than a chef's tool. It guarded these ancient humans against the lurking threats in the night. You can almost feel the warmth wrapping around you, a shield of comfort that keeps the darkness and its dangers at bay. A defense mechanism so ancient yet familiar that it forms the very essence of safety and survival. With a slight shift, you observe a group of Neanderthals huddled close together, not just using fire for food or safety, but transforming ordinary stones into sophisticated tools. This was no simple process. It required an intricate mastery of technique and material exemplified by their use of something known today as the Levallois method. This clever strategy involved preparing a stone core so that when a strategic strike was made, a sharp, ready-to-use flake would break away a custom tool crafted with methodical precision. As you watch, you might begin to notice how similar these crafts appear to the methods you still use today when shaping raw possibilities into practical outcomes. This ancient technique wasn't just based on raw brute force, but rather an understanding that might surprise you with its sophistication. Historians still debate whether these skills were passed down deliberately, like an oral tradition, or independently discovered by each new Neanderthal generation. Nevertheless, each tool was a testament to their ingenuity, perhaps even inspiring a sense of respect and admiration for their resourcefulness. There's an unusual awe to think that the Neanderthals, often portrayed as our less advanced relatives, had mastered such an advanced technique tens of thousands of years ago. They chipped away not only at hard stone, but at the very perception of their capabilities. Imagine now the quiet satisfaction etched into the Neanderthals' faces as they sit back and admire their handiwork, a sharp stone that promised not only survival, but solutions, weapons, and the means to mold their world in small, determined ways. And as you sit by your own fire, allow your thoughts to drift gently, relenting to the rhythmic simplicity of this ancient routine. The warmth of fire wraps around you, weaving stories in the smoke, whispering secrets of Neanderthal nights gone by, and urging you towards the soft embrace of sleep. Close your eyes and let the past and present converge into a single calming reality. The world is a vast and intricate tapestry where flames flicker, not just as chaotic bursts of energy, but as controlled and sustaining companions across the ages. You feel the gentle pull of slumber, lulled by the thought of how far humanity has come, and yet how deeply its roots remain anchored. As you drift off, the voices of history grow softer, easing you into a peaceful rest. And so here, under the stars, with the warmth of the ancient fire echoing through time, you find serenity in the shared humanity with those who came before. Drift into the darkness with dreams alight for the night. is just as they knew a space of wonder and the cradle of dreams yet to be explored. You walk into the cool, dimly lit cave on a brisk evening, the flickering light of a small fire reflecting off the jagged walls. As you take a deep breath, you feel the history seep into your being, surrounding you with a deep sense of the ancient past. The air carries with it a mix of earthiness and a faint whiff of smoke. Picture this: you're standing on the threshold of a time long forgotten, in the presence of the Neanderthals. In the depths of this cavern, you find a small circular space, bathed in an unusual tranquility. The walls, rough and textured, are a canvas upon which the Neanderthals expressed their world. You've probably heard the stereotype of the caveman, a brutish figure, with little to offer in terms of culture or intelligence. Tonight we're about to gently shatter that misconception. As your eyes adjust, you notice symbols and shapes painted upon stone surfaces, glowing in the soft palette of natural pigments, reds from clay, blacks from charcoal. These images capture the essence of their world, herds of deer in motion, perhaps a depiction of a successful hunt, or celestial patterns that connected them to the vast sky above. You marvel at this ancient artistry, realizing there's more to these people than just survival. Historians still debate whether the Neanderthals had developed a complex language, or if it was more of a system of gestures and vocalizations. But one thing is clear: communication was vital for their survival, whether during a hunt or in sharing knowledge across generations. Imagine whispering stories into the airtails that floated like embers, kindling the minds of those who listened. Dulled echoes of rhythmic sounds meet your senses. It's almost as if you can hear the murmurs of a conversation tones, rising and falling, perhaps a melody of vocals intertwined with humming, and rhythmic beats made with bone tools. Neanderthals might have created music to accompany their stories, perhaps even to soothe themselves after the sun had disappeared over the horizon. Weaving further into the cave, you discover a small, carefully arranged site. Here lie the remains of a Neanderthal, placed with deliberate care, accompanied by stone tools and remnants of ancient flora. This burial suggests a degree of spirituality or ritual, a striking contrast to the brutish image often attributed to them. Neanderthals took measures to honor their dead, a tender reminder of their emotional depth. Perhaps they believed in a connection that transcended beyond the physical realm, an unspoken hope that the spirit carried on in the ethereal world. A soft shuffling sound captures your attention as though footsteps are caught between the here and the then. How they move through the darkness, predicting weather changes, reading the stars, we'll never know entirely. But it's clear these were people of substance and intellect. You can almost feel the pulse of their existence resonate through centuries, a persistent heartbeat that reverberates softly against the cave walls. They may have devised intricate ways to identify edible plants or the safest trails through dense forest coverings. Information was transferred in whispers, in flame shadows cast across rough walls. The deeper you explore, the more you sense that these Neanderthals were not merely surviving, but thriving, crafting a life filled with nuances of art, language, and ritual. Imagine cozy evenings shared by firelight, where tales were spun with each flicker and pop of the flames' tails that would drift gently into the night wind. Tonight, as you wander back to modernity from this ancient realm, consider how the Neanderthals painted their own story, not just with ochre and charcoal, but in whispers of wind and rhythm of life, challenging all notions of simplicity. Lulled by the rhythmic echoes of their delicate, unending narrative, perhaps you too will write your own part in this great tale of humanity, as dreams unfold like untouched canvases under the moonlit sky. As you drift into the story, your mind time travels back to an era that's both alien and eerily familiar, a world where large, furry elephants, known as woolly mammoths, roam beneath vast open skies, and glaciers stretch beyond the horizon. In this land, you witness the ancient dance of survival and adaptation, the quiet moments of a shared campfire, and the indelible crossing of paths between Homo sapiens and their distant cousins, the Neanderthals. Feel the cold air nipping at your cheeks as if it has heard your thoughts of distant lands and ancient peoples. You can almost hear the crackling of the fire as smoke escapes into the starry sky, just as it did thousands of years ago when these two species met and melded in ways both tender and complex. Surprisingly, cohesion between these two groups was more than shared warmth under the vast icy expanses. It was a convergence written into DNA. Scientists have pieced together a remarkable revelation. Those of non-African descent carry within them echoes of Neanderthals' whispers of their DNA amounting to between 1–4%. These genetic traces are a testament to a mingling that has left an indelible mark on the modern human tapestry. As you delve deeper, imagine holding fragments of history beneath the ordinary fabric of your being. Historians still debate the nuances of how these encounters happened. Was it serendipitous meetings by migratory camps or lasting unions formed during harsh, icy winters? These questions linger much like the haunting, enigmatic footprints left in ancient dust. Notably, this Neanderthal legacy is not just a ghostly remnant. It influences the daily wonders of existence even now. Picture yourself rubbing your nose, a simple gesture possibly inherited from your primal relatives. Traits such as immune system robustness, or perhaps how your skin endures a sunlit afternoon, might whisper of those long ago nights when stories shared around the fire bore dreams and worries alike. Despite the millennia that have passed, the underlying truth remains almost mischievously persistent. These pieces of Neanderthal DNA run through much of humanity, like a faint stream weaving through our history and drawing a line back to secluded echoing caves and rugged ancestors. And of course, the full ramifications of this intermingling are like a great tapestry still being deciphered, one thread at a time. In this narrative landscape, where the past flows seamlessly into the present, you might ponder what else hides in the creases of time, waiting for light. How many other ancestral tales wind their way through your DNA, clandestine messages from a world long departed yet subtly alive within you. As you let this sink in, feel a gentle breeze as night envelops the ancient land. You rest with the comforting knowledge that all roads stretch back to beginnings, intertwined in unexpectedly tender ways, casting soft ripples across the ages, reaching right here to your present moment. With these musings wrapping around your thoughts, allow a calm tide to carry you gently toward rest, nestled in the curious embrace of our shared ancestral past. Picture yourself on a journey as ancient as the rocky paths that crisscross the vast Eurasian landscapes. You're walking side by side with your Neanderthal ancestors. They've got the same basic instincts woven into their DNA as you do, yet there's something truly mesmerizing about their rugged determination to carve out a life in the harshness of the Ice Age. As the story unfolds, you learn how these Neanderthals left a legacy encoded into your very cells. Fragments of their DNA sprinkle through your own whispering secrets of the past into your modern existence. Remember those days when you're not quite sure why your emotions seem bigger than you can handle, or why your metabolism might just decide to act a little strangely. Well, it turns out those Neanderthal genes have a say in that narrative. They've been linked to traits like diabetes and depression in our modern world. Imagine a shy Neanderthal elder trying to explain how their world and your feelings are surprisingly intertwined. It's an intriguing thought, right? How tiny fragments of a long extinct species continue to influence aspects of your health today. Yet historians are still puzzled over why exactly these Neanderthal whispers prevail in our societal narrative. Indeed, it's a gentle hum of mystery as perennial as a serene lullaby. But your ancestors didn't just influence you through DNA. Their story, unfortunately, took a turn. They faced extinction. The earth warmed and the lush, cold climate pastures began to shrink. Adapting quickly enough became a challenge. Climate change back then, much like today, was a harbinger of profound shifts. With Mother Nature as their unpredictable guide, Neanderthals faced dwindling resources and the relentless march of Homo sapiens, who, perhaps driven by the same innate spark of curiosity that drives you, ventured into Neanderthal territory with competitive tenacity. The competition for survival was fierce. Homo sapiens brought with them new tools and techniques, arguably more sophisticated, perhaps comparable to the leap from a simple campfire to a modern smart device in their societal impact. Neanderthals, extraordinary in their resilience and strength, found themselves outpaced in a race for resources, survival skills, and innovation. So here you are, caught in that web of historical evolution, as you snuggle under your blanket, thinking about their tales etched into time by the relentless ticking of natural selection. Picture this: a world where perhaps they didn't vanish, but thrived alongside, adding more diverse threads to our complex tapestry of humanity. We may never know whether things could have unfolded differently. A whisper of uncertainty lingers. Could certain Neanderthals have found peace with changing climates, or forged alliances that might have rewritten their story? Your DNA, a vibrant blend of ancient and modern tales, thrives in its own unique narrative. Each element within you tells not just where you came from, but offers curious hints about your health and sense of self, even your place on this expansive planet. Through the gentle rustle of possibilities and ancestral echoes, let this story cradle you into a soft repose, inviting dreams of ancient wanderers and futures untold. With that thought nestled in your mind, let your journey roll like a gentle wave through the tides of time, soothing as a lullaby, softly nudging you toward restful slumber. As the cool, soothing breeze of the evening whispers against your skin, you find yourself drifting into a story of long ago days and distant lands. The figure of a Neanderthal stands before you, far from the caricatured brute of outdated tales. There's a gentle intelligence in their eyes, a complexity that we've only recently begun to understand. Historians used to depict them as unsophisticated cavemen, lumbering through life with only clubs and grunts. But what if I told you there's more to these ancient cousins than meets the eye? Imagine a family gathered around a fire in the quiet of a prehistoric night, the flames casting flickering shadows on the stone walls of their home. One fact that's being unraveled in recent discoveries is their ability to create tools and art, indicating a level of consciousness and creativity once thought exclusive to our species. They fashion tools from flint and ornaments from bones, suggesting a cultural depth we're still exploring. Underneath the layers of dust and assumptions lies the surprising revelation of their capability for abstract thought. Among their remnants, artifacts with intricate carvings suggest they engaged in symbolic thinking, a trait some historians still debate whether we fully comprehend. How fascinating that these mysterious signs might have been their version of storytelling, their way of connecting with the world and each other. As you listen to the crackle of the fire, picture yourself in their midst, part of this ancient circle of life. Their survival techniques were ingeniously adapted to the harsh climates they faced. It's said they even understood herbal remedies, knowing which plants soothed pain or fought infection, a practice that hints at their connection with nature. The fresh perspective on Neanderthals shows them as survivors with a societal structure who cared for their sick and celebrated their dead, sparking further inquiry into what friendships and community might have looked like for them. While many questions linger and clear details on their daily lives remain elusive, these revelations show us that they were not so different from us. As the winds of time blow away the mists of misconceptions, you realize the story of the Neanderthal is as much about us rediscovering them as it is about them navigating their own world. This gentle unraveling of the past invites you to ponder how much of what we take as certain will be seen differently under the bright light of future discoveries. With that reflective thought, you find yourself drifting deeper under the spell of the night, lulled by the endless possibilities of time's untold tales. As you step into the vibrant tapestry of ancient Japan, the air whispers with tales of courage and loyalty. You find yourself amid the swirling dust and vibrant colors of the Genpei War, a time when legends were forged with the clang of swords and the cries of warriors. This is a world where honor guides your steps, and the echoes of ancient battles are vivid under the starlit sky. Your attention shifts to a figure that commands both respect and awe, Tomoe Gozen. Imagine her perched atop her steed, with her armor gleaming like fragments of the moon. Her presence is more than legendary. It's like stepping into a scene painted with skill, strength, and sharpness. With the coarse ground beneath you and the scent of impending rain in the air, you can't help but feel a thrill at the sight of her. You probably won't survive this war yourself, but observing Tomoe, you might just catch a glimpse of that elusive spirit of heroism. Historians and storytellers spin tales of her prowess on the battlefield, where she wields her bow and sword with a grace that belies the chaos around her. The Genpei War fought between the Taira and Minamoto clans, covered the lands in a shroud of conflict. And here she stands, a fierce warrior serving Minamoto no Yoshinaka. She's not just loyal. You sense a steadfastness that seems as constant as the mountains. You've likely heard how warriors often speak of loyalty, yet here it breathes and lives embodied in Tomoe. Her bravery isn't just recorded in the annals of history, it's etched into the very winds, whispering through the trees. But the interesting part is that historians still debate whether all the tales of her martial prowess are as grand as they sound. Perhaps some details are embellished. After all, legends grow in the telling. Think of the horse's hooves pounding rhythmically like a heartbeat of the earth, the cries of warriors ringing through your ears. In this world, Tomoe isn't just a figure in the distance. She becomes a centerpiece of the swirling narrative, defying the expectations of her time. Some stories even speak of how she would ride into battle, carrying the heads of her enemies with an elegance that contrasts sharply with the brutal images of war. Despite the violence, there's a calm in her movements, a dedication that pulls you into a quiet reverence. It's as if each swing of her sword carries the weight of her loyalty and her vow to protect. It's this gentle yet firm balance that captivates you, and you can't help but wonder about what it was like to hold such resolve under the weight of so much chaos. In this moment of contemplation, remember that wars have countless stories, and not all warriors emerge the same. Yet Tomoe Gozen stands apart, immortalized not just in dusty scrolls, but in the fabric of Japan's historical sense of self. Her story is woven with victory and loss, a dance between the sword's edge and the heart's truth. As night draws its star-speckled cloak around you, the warmth of the day fades to a comforting chill. There's a sense of unity and honor here, a reminder that even in the fiercest battles, there's an elegance and nobility that's both rare and cherished. You're drawn into this world, reflecting on how destiny often chooses unexpected heroes to stand steadfast when the winds of history blow harsh and cold. May the starlight guide you into dreams as radiant as the tales of Tomoe Gozen, ensuring her legacy doesn't fade with the dawn, but lingers in the silence of the night. Every morning the sun peeks over the distant mountains, gilding the edge of the horizon in a delicate golden hue. It's in this soft waking world you find yourself slipping quietly from silk sheets and out into the dew-kissed grass, Just imagine the cool earth beneath your feet and that curious blend of earth and spring. That's the world where Tomoe rises every day, her mind already dancing with the day's undertakings. You've heard about the samurai fierce warriors wielding katana with steely precision. But Tomoe's journey is not one about weapons alone. Hers is first a test of spirit. Young and determined, she stands in a clearing, a place where the world feels just big enough for dreams to swell and shrink fears. Picture her there, her breath forming small clouds in the crisp air as she begins her morning routine. Tomoe is no ordinary girl, and this story unfolds over years of perseverance. Even before she picks up a sword, she must master the art of balance, quite literally, of course. Imagine standing on a precarious, swaying pole, while overhead the branches of cherry blossoms rustle gently. Picture her arms outstretched, each breath purposeful, as she calibrates the balance between strength and grace. Historians often debate whether such trials were meant to cultivate calm or merely serve to weed out those unfit for battle. In Tomoe's world, every day brings a new challenge. Today it might be precision. A tranquil garden becomes her arena as she practices silently her shadow, perhaps the only witness to the swift, soundless swipes of her weapon. Her movements are a dance, each step blurring the line between training and artistry. It's said that one's sword should be an extension of oneself, and Tomoe is learning to make hers whisper through the air like the gentle trickling of the brook nearby. But this path is not one well trod by women, and Tomoe treads carefully over both the mossy stones and cultural expectations. There are those who say she should step back, step away from the path she's cutting through the dense forest of tradition. Yet here she is, defying gravity with the tenacity of the samurai spirit. You can almost feel the weight of centuries of tradition pressing down as she leaps, twirls, and lands with the precise grace of an arrow meeting its mark. One surprise lies in the way her fellow trainees begin to regard her not with skepticism, but with a quiet respect that grows each day. They speak in hushed tones about her prowess, the precision she brings to even the simplest of drills. Imagine her keeping her poise amid murmuring hopes and doubting glances alike, her focus unwavering like the steady drumbeat of the temple gong at dusk. Occasionally it's whispered that she received guidance not from teachers, but from the very spirits of the ancient warriors she hoped to join. In quiet moments under the starry sky, she would listen to the stories carried by the winds, drawing wisdom from places forgotten by history books. Other times, it's said she succeeded through sheer determination, carving her path with raw willpower, despite the world telling her, "You won't survive this." Yet, Tomoe doesn't just endure, she thrives. Each obstacle is another stone she steps upon, lifting her above the confines placed around her. You feel her spirit in the way she molds her story out of the air, like clay in an artist's skilled hands. Just when you think the weight of tradition might crush her, she turns it into the very force that propels her forward. The moon rises and falls like an eternal pendulum, marking the passing days with its silent gaze. In moments of rest, Tomoe reflects beneath its light. Her role in the samurai ranks is anything but certain. Every achievement is a small defiance, a pebble in the vast ocean of time. But with each ripple, she creates the resonance of her journey, spreads echoing quietly through history, and reaching you here as you drift closer to sleep. As you turn your mind from her story, it's like gently setting down a well-read scroll, its ink still fresh in the memory. Feel your breaths deepen, drawing from Tomoe's resolve, her resilience becoming your comfort this night. Her story ebbs, softening like the colors of dusk blending seamlessly into twilight. You sense a peace settling in a quiet assurance, in knowing that true strength lies not just in sword or skill, but in spirit. Let the echoes of her journey melt into the gentle rustle of the trees outside your window. The lullaby of the world rocks you slowly to rest as Tomoe finds her place, not just in history, but within the tapestry of dreams you'll weave as you drift into sleep. Breathe in and let go. The adventure awaits, not in the thrill of chase or clash, but in the tranquil embrace of imagining her world rich and calm, lulling you deeper and deeper into a serene slumber. As you drift into the story, you find yourself transported to the world of the Genpei War, a time of fierce battles and shifting alliances. The air is charged with the tension of conflict, but you're not just an observer tonight. You step into the shoes of a fearless warrior named Tomoe Gozen, who stands poised at the forefront of an army, commanding both admiration and loyalty from her troops. The camp is alive with the sounds of preparation. You hear the sharpening of swords and the rustle of armor, the air thick with purpose. Tomoe is a presence both commanding and soothing, her voice cutting through the murmur of the gathering contingent. She is not your average commander. She's legendary in her own time, known for her unmatched skills in archery and her prowess in horseback riding qualities that have earned her a formidable reputation on the battlefield. As you prepare for what lies ahead, the Battle of Yokotagawara looms large. Picture the early dawn light breaking over the horizon, casting golden hues over the landscape. This is war, but the beauty of the moment is undeniable. Under Tomoe's command, you charge into battle with precision and resolve. The clatter of hooves and the clash of blades resound around you. Tomoe, with her swift motions and strategic mind, paves the way for victory, a victory that historians recount with awe, though they still debate whether it was her unique tactics or sheer ferocity that carried the day. Beyond the battlefield, your journey unfolds into the delicate tapestry of political intrigue. Tensions simmer between Yoshinaka and his cousin Yoritomo, both key figures in the Minamoto clan. The power struggle is intense, each striving for a greater share of control. You stand by Yoshinaka, feeling the weight of uncertainty that accompanies each strategic decision. The rivalry with Yoritomo is palpable, creating rifts that threaten to unravel their collective efforts. Amidst this backdrop, you notice an unusual yet fascinating detail. The samurai's armor, known as oyoroi, is not only functional, but also an embodiment of the artistic flair of the period, with intricate designs that reflect both personal insignia and clan allegiances. It's a testament to the fact that, even in a time of war, artistry finds a way to flourish. Yet, amid the victories and vanquished foes, the tensions mount. Decisions are pivotal, and loyalties are tested. The choices you make, alongside Tomoe and Yoshinaka, resonate through the annals of history, despite the uncertainties that loom. Uncertainties that historians still dissect, pondering the what-ifs and might-have-beens of this tumultuous era. As the night deepens, you're reminded of the intense human emotion intertwined with the grand narrative of the Genpei War. The friendships formed, the enmities fostered, and the relentless pursuit of honor are threads that weave your story into the larger tapestry of history. With each victory and setback, you come to understand the enduring impact of Tomoe's legacy, a legacy shaped by courage and an unyielding spirit. And so, as your journey continues, you feel the slow ebb of the day's adrenaline. The camp settles into a quieter rhythm, the sounds of distant battles fading into the tranquil hum of the night. You close your eyes and let the warmth of camaraderie and the solace of shared experiences envelop you. In that gentle space between wakefulness and dreams, the story lulls you into a peaceful slumber, a reminder that even in times of unrest, the spirit finds its rest and rejuvenation. You hear the soft murmur of the wind brushing through the leaves as you stand on the field of Awazu, reflecting the somber mood of those around you. The air carries the distant echoes of clashing swords and fading cries of warriors who have met their fate. It's here in this significant landscape where the legend of Yoshinaka's downfall honors bravery against overwhelming odds. Yoshinaka, proud and fierce, had risen to prominence in the Genpei War, a tumultuous time in Japanese history. His ambition matched his prowess, both admired and feared. But as stories often march, ambition sometimes blinds even the most valiant. As you stand beside him, he is a figure overwhelmed by the pressing tide of events and internal betrayal. You see the weight of decisions passed on his brow, a leader dogged by the fleeting nature of fortune. Historians still debate the exact reasoning behind the decline, whether it was his overconfidence or simply the tides of war turning. But you feel the urgency in the air as Yoshinaka prepares for his final stand. It's a moment thick with tension and resolve, painted in the gritty hues of desperation and honor. In the rapidly fading afternoon light, you witness the final preparations of Yoshinaka's troops, who surround their leader with determined faces, knowing well what outcomes the evening might hold. Among them, Tomoe Gozen stands apart, a figure almost otherworldly in her grace and fearlessness. Her reputation as one of history's most famous onimusha precedes her. As her horse whinnies impatiently beneath her, she sits sharp and poised, ready to carve her name in the annals of history with deeds that echo across time. Her presence is not just as a warrior, but a symbol of loyalty as she stands by Yoshinaka. The details of the battle shift and shimmer in the mind's eye like reflections on a turbulent lake. Smoke and dust cloak the field, rendering the surroundings both real and surreal. The clash at Awazu isn't just a physical battle, it's a split in history, a dance between duty and destiny. It unfolds before your eyes, like an epic tale carried on the whispers of the wind. In the tumult of conflict, you see Tomoe's horse leap forward, cutting through the chaos with a precision and a strength that seems almost unreal. Her feats in battle are legendary. She rides alongside the fiercest unerring in her focus, guided by an inner compass of honor and loyalty. The story of her single-handedly taking down a warrior of notoriety would be passed down through generations, with each retelling, perhaps embellishing the event, but always celebrating her unparalleled courage. She comes to you as an embodiment of defiance against the engulfing tide of losing. With a single swing, fierce and graceful, she carves through the ranks of the enemy, a vivid testament to the skill of a warrior creating ripples that would reach across time. This image lingers, one of power and determination, even amidst encroaching defeat. As the sky bleeds into twilight, the realization of the inevitable settles, as soft as the first fall of snow. There's a moment of quiet introspection where Yoshinaka acknowledges a warrior's end, unyielding in spirit even as the world around him crumbles. The final moment of defiance and honor-bound stand echoes with solemnity. It is said he met his end at the hands of an archer, but left an indelible mark in the stories that followed. Tomoe survives the battle, carrying with her the stories of the fallen, an eternal witness to bravery and devotion. Her tale sparkles in the folds of history, defying the norms and enduring tribute to strength in the face of adversity. As you recede from the battlefield, this sense of courage and the untouched spirit remains with you, cradling the past in a soft lullaby of heroes whispering across the ages. As the noise of the world dwindles, you find yourself enveloped in a deep serenity. The dusk becomes an embrace, soft and comforting, drawing you into a space of rest. The tales woven through the battle metamorphose into a gentle hum as you drift away, the hero's stories murmuring like a soothing stream gliding over smooth stones. This calm descent into rest leaves you moored in peace, a gentle wave carrying you further from the bustle of the day's thoughts. With each breath, the memory of roaring battles and valiant hearts quietens until they are mere ripples against the shores of sleep. You float on the surface of calm waters, where the legends of old tuck around like a blanket, whispering assurances of valor beyond time's reach. In the twilight of your consciousness, the echoes of hooves and the clang of swords fade, leaving a silent promise. In every end, there is a tale timeless and cherished, waiting to be discovered anew. Finally, the last tendrils of wakefulness release you, guiding you into a gentle slumber, laced with serenity, where the dreams of feudal Japan and courageous souls wrap you in their timeless embrace. The morning mist is thick around you, almost like a gauzy curtain, as you find yourself in the middle of the Awazu fields. The air is tense, charged with anticipation, much like before a summer storm. You can almost feel the soft earth beneath your feet, vibrating with the distant thundering hooves of approaching warriors. Among them rides Tomoe Gozen, an extraordinary Onimusha, whose prowess in battle is legendary. Picture her, clad in a brilliant full set of armor bow, slung across her back and a naginata glittering in her grasp. She seems rather fearless, elaborately painted, immovable, like a weathered stone in a fast-flowing river. The Battle of Awazu unfolds around you like a chaotic, yet strangely graceful dance. You'd be mistaken if you thought this was just another skirmish to fill the pages of history. This clash sings with intensity as arrows whistle like haunting serenades, and swords clash, echoing as a symphony of clattering metal. And there you stand, amidst the unfolding storm, part of you longing for the calm, after the tempest, part of you captivated by the unfolding drama. In the heart of the battle, Tomoe springs forward with the agility of a hawk diving for its prey. Her movements are calculated, graceful, and deceptively simple. Imagine her bounding toward Akechi Sozaburo, one of her imposing adversaries. With a fierce cry that pierces the din of war, she strikes true, dispatching her opponent swift as a summer rain cutting through a dusty afternoon. Historians still debate whether Tomoe's motives were driven by loyalty or a thirst for glory. They recount her either rallying on behalf of her master's cause or seeking to etch her name into the annals of time through deeds that would echo across generations. In the eyes of her contemporaries, her presence on the battlefield transcended mere victory. It felt like an act of defiance against the traditional codes confining women to the peripheries of warfare. Meanwhile, the sun hangs suspended, casting its golden glance between tumbling clouds, illuminating the field like some vast moving tapestry. You sense a startling presence of ancient energy here, a mingling of destiny and fate. Tomoe, despite her strength and skill, is one against many, a lone figure in a landscape painted with a multitude of warriors. As the conflict rages, you are reminded of the intimate detail that marks Tomoe's armor, the fine engravings, the careful repair signs of many battles fought and survived. Such is the complexity of her character and her role in this mighty saga that historians sometimes find themselves divided, recounting her final act in multiple, often contrasting narratives. In one compelling version, she signals her intent with a chilling finality, driving her horse into the thickest throng, barreling toward annihilation, as if the moment demanded a culmination so appropriately decisive. Another tale suggests Tomoe, plagued by the endless tide of adversaries, vanishes into the fog of history, her fate sealed in ambiguity. Some scholars even conjecture that the warrior sought a life of peace afterward, exchanging armor for tranquility, but leaving behind a legacy of awe-inspiring power and endurance. Tomoe's battle, a beautifully intricate weave of skill, inspiration, and mystery, becomes a reflection of the timelessness of human struggles and triumphs. Her spirit seems to linger as dawn breaks over the Awazu fields, with golden hues spreading across the landscape, whispering tales of bravery to anyone listening closely enough. The shimmering light hints at endless possibilities and recalls the definitive truth of one warrior's legacy, whispering across ages. As the conflict begins to wane, the field transforms under the gentle rise of the sun, the chaos of battle ebbing into tranquil stillness. You find yourself reflecting on all the brave souls, their stories, and the curious paths they carved. The quiet of the morning is serenely disarming, much like the tranquil aftermath of a life well lived. Tomoe Gozen's tale may indeed reside in the hazy borderlands between history and legend, yet standing there, you can almost sense her enduring presence, a fierce whisper woven into the temperate breeze. Her journey, though enshrouded in uncertainty, stands defiantly as a testament to courage. And perhaps, if you listen hard enough, the echo of her battle cry still hums on the wind. As you leave the battlefield behind, remember the spirit of defiance that Tomoe symbolizes. Her lasting impact invites a pondering pause, reminding you of the many faces of bravery tucked amid history's fabric, proof that whether in clear remembrance or ghostly echoes, some stories never really fade. The clouds hung low over Awazu, casting a soft gray glow that seemed to blur the line between earth and sky. You feel a gentle breeze brush against your face, carrying whispers of tales long untold. As you walk along this path, you suddenly find yourself in the midst of a story already unfolding, a story of Tomoe, the fierce warrior whose destiny was as elusive as the mist that hugged the ground. The tale begins to weave itself around you, telling of a time when Tomoe's sword was feared and revered across the lands. But what happened to her after the battle at Awazu? Did she lay down her sword, seeking solace in a life hidden from the clamor of war? Or perhaps she vanished into the pages of history, becoming more legend than reality. Historians still debate whether Tomoe truly disappeared that fateful day, vanishing like snowflakes in warm sunlight. Some say that, tired of the relentless cycle of battle, she chose a quiet life, away from the watchful eyes of history, maybe even changing her name to shed her warrior past like a snake shedding its skin. Yet there's another tale that spins a different ending. In this version, they claim that Tomoe did not fade into obscurity, but instead transformed into something more, a symbol of hope and resilience. She became immortal, not through forgetfulness, but through memory. Her name whispered on the winds and inked into the hearts of those who aspired to her strength. As you ponder these tales, the story continues to guide you through Tomoe's world. Imagine her standing atop a hill, her gaze fixed on the horizon. She is not just a woman of the sword, but a beacon, a light in times of darkness. Just as you are lulled by the rhythmic history unfolding in your mind, an unusual detail surfaces to spark curiosity. There are legends suggesting Tomoe didn't disappear at all. Some believe she changed her form, becoming one with nature itself, a mountain, a stream, a whisper in the woods. While these theories float around like clouds refusing to settle, one thing is agreed upon. Tomoe leaves a lasting legacy far beyond her mortal coil. Stories spring up in every town she touched, each claiming a shadow of her presence, a trace of her fierce gentility. You can almost hear the echoes of a long-lost melody, tracing her journey through time, carried by the wind as it brushes past you. The present wraps you in its embrace, pulling you through the woven threads of yesteryears, where fact and folklore twist together. You might think it's a bit like playing a game of telephone across the ages, where the truth stretches subtly with each retelling until it becomes both history and myth. Now, as you reflect on the possibilities of Tomoe's fate, consider the accounts that tell of her wandering into the mountains, living as a hermit in deep meditation. These stories add another layer of intrigue, suggesting she sought peace, not by escaping the world, but by transcending it. They argue that in such isolation, she achieved a harmony that only the quiet expressions of nature, like you experience on a tranquil night, could offer. In one gentle leap of imagination, the narrative bends toward the idea that Tomoe might have joined the heavenly ascension, becoming a divine protector. This version casts her not as a warrior retired, but as an undying guardian forever, watching over the lands she once roamed. Of course, such tales are whispered with subtle humor, painting her as a mischievous spirit, more interested in guiding lost travelers than in watching battles unfold. Whichever story you choose to embrace, Tomoe emerges from them all as larger than life. Her life begins to feel less like a series of events and more like a symphony, each part contributing to a grander theme of strength, endurance, and quiet courage. She remains a figure shrouded in both clarity and mystery, her essence captured in stone and song across landscapes and generations. And so, as the tales of Tomoe's disappearance and transformation settle around you, like the gentle fall of night, you find yourself drifting deeper into the story's embrace. The calm of knowing that her legend lives on assures you much like the comforting rhythm of a lullaby, where notes of the past sing softly toward the future. All around the world holds its breath for a moment before sighing into a restful slumber filled with dreams of heroic journeys and the peace found in their aftermath. As the twilight deepens, you find yourself journeying through a world where stories are more vivid than reality, stepping softly into the ancient lands of Japan. Your feet touch down on the softly trodden paths of past centuries, where echoes of noble warriors and grand tales await to enfold you in their narrative embrace. Here walks the formidable Tomoe Gozen, a name whispered with respect and awe, as her spirit weaves through the Heike, Monogatari, and other historic lore. Tomoe, often described as a peerless warrior, emerges from the mists of history as a captivating figure in the Heike Monogatari, a 14th century epic that stitches together the complex tapestry of the Genpei War. You can almost see her riding fearlessly into battle, her armor glinting under the sun, a bow strung confidently across her back, and a sword ready at her side. This tale paints her as not just a skilled fighter, but as a woman of beauty and intellect commanding admiration in realms often dominated by men. Historians agree on her depiction as a skilled warrior, yet they still debate whether Tomoe was a composite character or a portrayal of a real woman. It seems almost fitting, the idea that this legendary figure could bounce between reality and myth, just like the light steps of a shadow, engaging in an eternal dance with the candle's flicker. Across centuries, Tomoe's legend has inspired countless artists and writers, her image evolving through each retelling. Artists capture her courageous spirit in vibrant colors on canvas woodblock prints, portray her determined stance with flowing banners and fierce combat. Just as you're settling into this image, another layer of her story beckons. her portrayal shifts seamlessly into the hundreds of pages of manga, where she becomes a resolute heroine, her adventures blending seamlessly with fantastical elements of Japanese folklore. With a touch of gentle sarcasm, imagine Tomoe flipping through pages of manga, bemused by her meteor-than-life transformations, her sword replaced by magical powers or cyber enhancements. Despite these embellishments, her core remains unchanged, a beacon of strength, beauty, and independence. You might wonder softly, pondering whether she nods approvingly from the story's margins, anchoring new generations in her legendary roots. Even as you picture her on larger-than-life battles in vividly illustrated frames, there's an unusual detail that tickles curiosity. Did you know that she's occasionally depicted alongside mythical creatures, like Kitsune, the fox spirits, known for their cunning and shape-shifting abilities? It's as if Tomoe herself dances between reality and myth, a dynamic emblem of feminine power, uncontained by any single narrative. Reflecting on these narratives, it seems Tomoe's spirit remains invigorated by these retellings. The transformation through time from the Heike Monogatari to modern manga serves as a testament to her enduring influence on Japanese culture. Each artistic rendition, whether solemn or whimsical, contributes a note to the harmonious symphony of her existence across verses and visuals. And as you imagine the soothing rhythm of these stories lulling you towards a gentle sleep, you can almost hear the soft rustle of pages, turning a familiar sound, like the hum of your childhood fan, blending with your own drifting breaths. In the comforting embrace of storytelling, Tomoe remains an ethereal companion, watching over you as the night deepens, guiding you through threads of history and imagination, alike finally letting you rest. Tomoe Gozen had once been a formidable presence on the battlefield, wielding her sword with grace and precision, as if each strike painted a portrait of defiance against the winds of inevitability. You walk beside her feeling the cool air of dawn sweeping across the open fields where she once stood tall. The footprints she left in the annals of history only faintly whisper their tales now, but if you listen closely, you can almost hear the thunder of hooves and the rustle of armor echoing through time. Historians still debate whether her existence was more legend than reality, yet the formidable impression she left is undeniably real. You picture her draped in an immaculate suit of armor, the sharp glint of her katana catching the fleeting light. Tomoe was not just a warrior. She epitomized resistance to the traditional roles assigned to women. She charted her own path in a world written by and for men, a testament to individuality before the word had breathed its true meaning. Now imagine her journey not just as one peppered with battles and strife, but as a series of choices that one could call sheer audacity. She punctuated each decision with purpose, shaping her own narrative against the grain. This was an era dictated by rigid codes of honor, but Tomoe danced on the periphery of those constraints, her story, like an eddy swirling defiantly in a stream. You wonder what her voice would have sounded like, carried on the winds of ancient Japan. Perhaps it was steady and commanding, softer, only when she whispered to herself beneath the stars. Tomoe's strength wasn't just in the physicality she wielded, but in her unwavering spirit. The same spirit that led her to carve out a place in a space that left little room for women like her. In a dual world of silk and steel, Tomoe's life bore witness to her mastery of both. Her skill in archery was unparalleled, shooting arrows with a precision that seemed almost otherworldly, each bowstring's release a quiet rebellion. You find yourself imagining the focus it took to draw a bow, an entire universe narrowing to a single point of aim. Her essence was a tapestry, woven with threads of courage, each strand a notion of what defiance could accomplish. Stories tell of one decisive battle where she seized the reins to rally her troops, charging into the fray with unparalleled resolve. As the dust settled and the cries of combat faded into the evening there, she stood not merely as a victor, but as an embodiment of enduring resistance. It's said she once single-handedly slew a fierce enemy, a knot of tension and skill unraveled by her alone on the battleground. Surprisingly, Tomoe's legacy isn't just inked in the pages of Japan's history, but echoes throughout tales of women warriors worldwide. Her story is a universal anthem of challenging established norms, her resonance amplified in cultures seeking symbols of female strength and autonomy. It's the tale of an individual who refused to be background noise in the symphony of life, opting instead to compose her own melody of strength. You tread softly through the corridors of time, where cultural expectations often shuttered women behind the veils of decorum. Yet even now you see Tomoe's influence in contemporary warriors, each echoing her indomitable will. Women around the world have drawn strength from her tale, her story a spark that ignites countless fires in global narratives of empowerment. Still, questions linger about whether her story is myth, enhanced by romantic reflection, or the true account of a singularly remarkable woman. You ponder the blurry line between history and legend, that alluring space where facts intertwine with folklore. It invites you to imagine reality shaped by such legends, a reality where you too take up armor against your own battles. And so as you take a moment to consider the path laid before you, you realize Tomoe's story is more than just an ancient tale. It is a gentle, persistent whisper in your ear, urging you to tread your own path, no matter how treacherous the journey. Her life symbolizes the echoes of resistance, urging you on to create your own indelible mark. As the pace of the evening slows, you find your thoughts drifting like leaves on a gentle breeze, drawn into the calming allure of the night. The day's musings settle silently, each passage of her story, a rhythmic lullaby that caresses your senses. The strength and resilience she represented reflect softly in the stillness, reassuring you that in the quiet embrace of night, all is as it should be. You allow yourself to sink deeper into the comforting fold of darkness, where the world's edges blur into a watercolor of dreams. The story lingers lightly in your thoughts, comforting and inspiring like a guiding light that steadily grows dimmer as sleep approaches. You feel the soft resonance of Tomoe's defiance, and courage weave a tapestry of calm around you, wrapping you in a soothing lull. The room hushes around the tender rhythm of your breath, each inhalation, and exhalation a gentle tide, carrying her story's embrace. With each breath, the soothing cadence lulls you further into the embrace of reverie, where imagination and history entwine in peaceful slumber. As the narrative softly fades, you rest in the quiet certainty that, like Tomoe, you hold a unique thread of resistance and strength, ready to weave your own story, waiting to be dreamed into existence. In this tranquil evening moment, you nestle further into comfort, letting go of thoughts, dreams colliding softly with wishes as you drift into a restful peace. Your journey with Tomoe's tale quietly draws to a close, for now, like a whisper on the wind, secure at the night's tender embrace. You find yourself standing on a weathered dock, the salty sea air brushing against your skin, whispering the echoes of adventures long past. The sun dips toward the horizon, and you can almost hear the creak of ancient timbers and the flap of sails high above. Tonight you're embarking on a journey not across the ocean, but through time into the world of ancient mariners, those audacious explorers who first dared to venture out into the unknown. The sky above you twinkles with a myriad of stars, so bright and clear that you can almost believe they might guide your path across a vast and endless sea. These celestial bodies once held the secrets of the world, beckoning those intrepid sailors who dared to set forth without the comfort of modern technology. Though aboard one of these vessels, you'd probably feel your courage waver, since surviving such perilous voyages was anything but guaranteed. You imagine yourself aboard an ancient ship, sails flapping like the wings of a great bird. You stand beside the helmsman, who navigates with nothing but the stars as his map, the waves as his song, and the wind as his ever-pushing hand. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where and when you're tuning in from. It's nice to think of us all anchored here together in this shared moment. Now dim, the lights maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. As you drift the rhythmic rise and fall of the ocean cradle you a lullaby of nature's own making. Your vessel is humble wood creaking softly with each sway, but robust enough to have carried spirits like those of the seafaring Phoenicians or the fearless Polynesians who mastered the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. It is said that the latter got their bearings straight not with compasses or maps, but by the way the swells rolled beneath their canoes, and the constellations twinkled above their heads. Historians still debate whether these Polynesian navigators used birds to guide them to land, or trusted wholly in the stars' paths. The scent of the sea mingles with the earthy aroma of pine wood and the salty tang of ocean breeze, intertwining into a comforting wrap around your senses. In the far-off distance, the setting sun paints a canvas of colors across the sky, magnificent yet fading, hinting at the inevitable cloak of night. Yet as darkness falls, a canvas of stars emerges more brilliant than you could ever imagine. They are your compass, your guide offering whispers of direction and hope. Among these stars, a favorite tale of ancient mariners unfolds that of the Phoenician traders. Celebrated for their ingenuity, the Phoenicians are said to have traversed the breadth of the Mediterranean carrying treasures and tales from Egypt to Spain, all by starlight. Yet despite their prowess, some suggest that the true heart of their exploration was the smell of the prized purple dye. They produced a scent so powerful it drove them further than borders and economic lure, as intoxicating as the sea air itself. The waves lap gently against the bow, a soft reminder of the precious cargo these voyages held. Not just goods, but ideas and innovations, expanding the horizons of civilizations. Each ripple seems to echo with stories exchanged in the hushed tones of ancient tongues, trading secrets and spices under the watchful eyes of 1,000 stars overhead. Even the wind's capricious friends to sailors hold stories of their own. They speak of the Basque fishermen, who supposedly ventured far beyond the known coasts of Europe, navigating by the scent and feel of the breeze, drawn to the immense bounty of the seas. It's whispered among those who dwell by the sea that these fishermen, keen observers, all were often the very first to whisper tales of distant, unknown lands, pondering whether they glimpsed new worlds or mirages born of fatigue and salt spray. You ponder this as the boat sways gently lulled by invisible forces. In your mind's eye, you see a navigator on his night watch face, turned to the heavens, reading the sky as another might read a well-loved book. He feels the planet's vast rotations and slight tilts, a surveying of the ocean's vast, desolate heart. The patterns and rhythms known only to those bold enough to encroach upon Neptune's domain become evident with each sparkling starlight and gentle night breeze guiding his hand and your vessel slowly but surely across uncharted waters. Your eyelids grow heavy as ancient songs carried on the wind wrap around you like a flowing caress, a siren's song of crickets ashore, blending with the orchestra of water and wood. It's as though time itself slows to match the rhythm of your weary thoughts, cradling you just as the timbers of the ship cradle beneath. As you ease yourself into the continuing sway of the boat, imagine those fearless explorers, their discoveries not always tangible, but always profound, a widening of the world that would eventually lay the foundations for the global trade world we know today. To set out under stars with nothing between oneself and the oblivion but vast unbroken sea was an act of pure trust in one's skill, one's star, and one's fate. The pace of the story softens each word, a gentle push toward the shoreline of dreams. Picture yourself perhaps as one of these navigators, where the thrill of discovery mingles with the comfort of knowing you are never truly alone on this voyage, with the sea's whispers as your blanket and stars as your nightlight slowly enter a sailor's slumber, a trusted watch over your dreams. Let your mind float gently on the current of history, where the waters calm and the stars watch over, leading you with the promise of bright tomorrows across the horizon. Feel the peace of the night embrace you as the ancient mariners guide you safely to harbor, whispering that the dreams born of starlight will forever chart your course.